Hi everyone, welcome to our podcast. And just like that, and this.
And then
This is our podcast where we review weekly the newest episodes of And Just Like That, the continuing series of Sex in the City. So today we're talking about episode 5, which is called Silent Mode. So I think I'll just go over all of the scenes, like the episode, and then we'll get into the details and what we felt. So, this episode starts with Carrie at her neighbor's house downstairs, tenant's, actually not even neighbor, her tenant's house, having an awkward dinner, mutton dinner. He's not being charming. She's trying to be charming or funny, but it's not really coming off that way. But they're having this awkward dinner, and in that dinner, Duncan asks Carrie, will you read the pages? I'm writing about a female, Margaret Thatcher, I believe.
Yeah.
And I've never written about a female before, so will you read what I'm writing? And she asks him the same thing because she's writing a book as well. Scene 2, basically after that they say, yes, I'll read your book. Cuts to Carrie on the phone with Aiden, and she's telling him about Duncan, and he's like, who's Duncan? And she's like, do you not listen to what I say?
Right.
And he's like, no, I listen to what you're saying. And she says, okay, it's Duncan, my neighbor. He asked me, she actually doesn't tell him about the book, but she's like, I did have a weird dinner with him, and nothing happens with that. Then moving on to Aiden telling Carrie, hey, I'm gonna be coming down to New York next week. And she's like, oh, I didn't know you are. And he's like, oh, yeah, Wyatt decided to go to a camp and he's gonna be gone for a week, so I'm gonna come up. So she's happy about it. Then it cuts to Miranda waking up in Joy's apartment and seeing her dogs, and her dogs are looking at her, and she's like kind of startled. Joy comes in and is not, they have their good mornings, and Joy kind of makes it a point to be like, your 3 days are kind of up, insinuating basically that Miranda has been staying there. So Miranda lets her know, hey, Seema might have an apartment for me. And also, I want you to meet Brady. And Brady is Miranda's son, just for those of you that might not know. And Joy's like, okay, kind of apprehensive, but it's like, oh, that's great. I'll meet Brady. And the scene, I think this is entirely with the show, but the editing has been really weird, where they cut off. I know that they probably in real life shot more, but then in editing they cut off at weird points, because in this point where Joy is kind of jokingly and cheekishly telling them, like, oh, I don't want to be one of those lesbians that move too fast. And it kind of cuts off right after that. And it doesn't let the scene play out, which is fine, whatever. Then it cuts to Bitsy. Again, they keep bringing Bitsy Mufflin, whatever her name, Von Mufflin, that older lady that was married to the gay singer. And they keep bringing her back. They brought her back in season 1, and it's just like, who cares about her? So Bitsy runs into Charlotte in the next scene. Charlotte is walking down a cancer research center, and Bitsy immediately thinks it's somebody has cancer that Charlotte knows, which is weird because, one, she's literally just walking down
she didn't enter.
She didn't enter the building. She wasn't in the building. She was just walking down. This is New York City. People are walking everywhere all the time. Anyways, Charlotte denies it and is literally just holding on to the secret that Harry has cancer and denies it. And she's like, oh, I'll see you later at this party. And again, I don't know why they put this bit in, but Bitsy apparently was invited to this party, and Bitsy's like, oh my god, I wasn't invited, let me figure it out right away. And they do that again later in another scene where Charlotte says, I'll see you later at this party, and Bitsy's like, oh, what party? I wasn't invited. And Bitsy's like frantically getting on the phone to like get invited to this party. Like, what is the point of any of that? It's not even fun. Nobody cares about Bitsy. Anyways, then like the next scene is so weird, and it's literally the only real other scene with Seema, where she's in her car and she is like singing, like playing these songs for her driver to be like, I can no longer employ you because I didn't pay for this car or your employment. The company did, and now apparently super broke. She's 56. Presumably, she's been a real estate agent for 20 years, but apparently she's broke and has to let go of her driver, and has this weird scene where she like lets go of her driver through songs. And then the next scene is Seema showing Miranda this new apartment, and this apartment's great, everything is great, Miranda loves it. But then they have this like weird back and forth because Seema tells her, hey, they're asking for $150,000 over asking, and if you do that, you'll have the apartment. And Miranda goes, I don't agree with that on principle. And Seema's like, you're never gonna find a better apartment, which is weird. Like, bro, as a real estate agent, you end up showing tons of apartment, and you barely started showing to Miranda. This is presumably the first or second apartment that you're showing her, and you're already like having a bitch fit with Miranda about it and being like, no, you should take this apartment. Nobody in this world should take the first apartment that they see, even if it's great, even if it's perfect. Like, you should shop around a bit. But anyways, I digress. Let me continue on. What is it? Next scene is Charlotte and Harry discussing Harry's cancer. They've been to the doctor. Charlotte is worried, but is being super positive about it. Then the next episode is Anthony in the challah bread. It's so funny. The entire like arc of Anthony has been that he's been sexualizing all these men to get bread, to sell bread for his store. But when this lady is staring at his boo's big penis, he's like, hey ladies, eyes up here. No, bro, your entire MO has been trying to sell your boyfriend's dick to get people to come into your restaurant. And now that they're looking at his dick, you're like, eyes up here.
There was a line.
There's a,
Keep the line like, moving, lady. Pay and go. You look, you pay, you look again, and then you go.
I mean, that's how it's done, if you're slick about it. But anyways, in this scene, we see all the girls together: Miranda, Charlotte, Seema, and Carrie. Oh my god, and then they discuss, they're discussing their lives. And Miranda says, this is the funniest part, literally Miranda tells them, hey, I might have a new apartment, and literally she says that Joy might like her dogs more than she likes Miranda. So if she can't have an apartment where there his dogs are allowed, she might not be able to be in this relationship. They've literally just slept together. And that's it. I mean, in this scene, there's no further discussion about anybody else's life. It's just that. Again, I feel like it's the editing. I think there's probably more there, but I don't know why they're doing this editing-wise. But continuing on, we see in the next scene, LTW is in the editing bay with her editor, Marion, and they're having kind of like flirty energy going back and forth, and she tells her, LTW tells Marion, I'm gonna put my phone on silent because I keep getting all these calls. And then it cuts back to Aiden coming to New York. So it's not like a continuing scene with LTW. So LTW tells Marion, her editor, she's gonna put her phone on silent because they're editing. Cuts to Aiden and Carrie. Aiden is outside of the of the window of Carrie's new apartment, and he is trying to be cute, and it's a recall back to, Sex and the City season 4, where Aiden throws Carrie first throws pebbles at Aiden's door, and then Aiden does the same thing in Sex and the City, and now again they're calling back that thing, and Aiden's throwing pebbles at Carrie's apartment. He accidentally breaks the window. Aiden's really upset that he broke, of course, her window, and Carrie's just standing around, and he's cleaning up, and, she's kind of like, upset about, Aiden's really trying to clean up, and Carrie, again, maybe this is something what 50-year-olds are really, like, upset about, 56-year-olds, where she's like, oh my God, I can't replace that window. And he's like, I'll find something, I'll figure it out. And she's like, no, it's an old window, and it has a rainbow through it, which all windows, if the sun is hitting perfectly. Anyways, so she's like kind of making a big deal about it, and he's like also upset about it. So it's like a weird tense situation about this window. And then we cut back to LTW. LTW is in the editing bay with Marion, and finally her husband, first she finds out that Marion's actually married, which she's kind of upset and weirded out by. But suddenly her husband Herbert walks through the door, and she's like, oh, what a pleasant surprise. And Herbert tells her that her father passed away, and we'll discuss about this later. But her father passes away, and then we cut to a scene where LTW is distraught and calls Charlotte and lets Charlotte know that her father, who was in great health, passed away. And in that, she gets this email that her father's funeral is being planned by Lucille, who is his father's assistant from the theater. And she's upset by that because she's like, how dare she send me an email about the funeral? I should be the one doing it. So it cuts there, and then it continues on with Charlotte approaching Harry and is really upset after hearing about LTW's father. And Harry's too busy watching a game, and he doesn't really acknowledge her. And he's like, bro, I'm gonna be fine, leave me alone. And the scene cuts out. Then we get back to Carrie and Aiden, and Carrie's like trying to persuade Aiden to come into bed. Aiden is looking up mirrors to find a replacement for Carrie's window, and she's like, please come to bed. And he's like, no, I'm gonna find it. We might have to go to Pennsylvania. And she's like, no, come to bed. But we don't see if Aiden ever goes to bed, because the next scene is Carrie waking up by herself, finding a note from Aiden saying, hey, I went to Pennsylvania to find you the perfect window, apparently. And then We see Charlotte and Carrie at the Tiffany store. Bitsy again shows up, and then Charlotte basically tells her, Carrie about LTW's father passing, but never mentions Harry. And you can tell, Charlotte's holding something back, but it's never discussed. Again, Bitsy comes in, weird scene with Bitsy. Who cares? Whatever, Bitsy. Then, next scene is LTW is meeting Lucille to discuss her father's funeral, and she's upset. And Lucille basically tells her, hey, I've been taking care of your father for the past 20 years, and you're kind of just showing up now. Why are you upset? They kind of make up. We don't really see that. The scene cuts out, and it cuts back in later on where they're planning the funeral, and LTW is telling her, don't make it too grand. She's like, sure, whatever, don't make it too theatrical or whatever. And Lucille's kind of not having it. And then we see Miranda and Joy meeting Brady. Brady gets along perfectly with the dogs, so Joy likes him right away. But before Brady arrives, Joy tells her something and says, you're my girlfriend. And then Miranda goes, I'm your girlfriend? Mm-hmm. These people are 56 years old. 56 years old. Anyways, continuing on, what do we see? Aiden and Carrie are back in the house, and Aiden is like, I couldn't find the perfect mirror or window for you, and Carrie's like, forget about the stupid window, and she's trying to kiss him and trying to hug him. Finally, Aiden comes out and tells her the truth, that he slept with Kathy because when he was dropping off Wyatt to the airport, Wyatt didn't want to go, and they had to yell at him to make him go, which I'm guessing he went because Kathy and Aiden are distraught and sad, and Kathy tells him even what did we do to make our, make our son Wyatt go to camp? Bro, it's camp. Anyways, Kathy's distraught over the situation, and so is Aiden, so they end up hooking up, and Aiden tells this to Carrie, and Carrie's like, I kind of understand. I might be in shock, but I kind of understand. And he's kind of like, how do you understand? And she's like, well, I didn't think we were not going to sleep with other people for 5 years. Yeah. And Aiden's like, well, that's news to me. I thought I betrayed you. And she's like, what do you mean? And she's like kind of shocked at herself finally being like, oh, I thought, I don't know why we haven't had this conversation before, but I didn't think we were gonna not have sex with other people for the 5 years that I was waiting for you. What did you think, that I was gonna be not doing that? And he's like, oh yeah, this man is 56 years old. What is wrong with these people? And then she's like, and again, this is editing. They never even finished this conversation where it's like, what are our boundaries? It just cuts to them having sex. And it's like, okay, great. And then they show LTW's father's funeral, and then Miranda finally, everybody's at the funeral, and at the funeral Miranda tells Seema, hey, I'll take that apartment that is asking overpriced. And then there's I'm looking at my notes, and there's a sweet moment between LTW and her mother-in-law finally, where the mother-in-law by the car is telling her, maybe he didn't want you to be there in his last moments because he didn't want you to see him like that. And she kind of touches her cheek. So that's a sweet moment. And this episode ends with Aiden leaving, but running into Duncan, who gives him the, final pages or pages of his writing. Carrie finding those pages and kind of being like, ooh, they met, I guess. And then, like, what else? What's the last scene? The last scene is Carrie runs into Charlotte at like a CVS or something, a pharmacy of some type, and she's buying diapers, and Carrie's like, who are you buying these diapers for? And Charlotte finally breaks down and is like, Harry has cancer and he doesn't want anybody to know. And, she cries. Bad acting by Kristen Davis, and it ends with that. That's the end of the episode in its entirety.
It was a heavy episode, that was for sure.
It was.
But should we just jump to the part that everyone's talking about, even Sex and the City, their Instagram too?
Oh, did their Instagram acknowledge it?
Yes.
What did they say? I didn't see
They
that.
showed both clips of the first season when Big died, and she says that her dad passed and she was shaking and she was talking with Charlotte and stuff. They showed that clip, and then they showed the clip
And what
of
did it
her
say?
finding out that her dad died. Nothing. I think the caption might have said something like something witty about them messing up, but they acknowledge it.
Okay, let's backtrack. For those of you that don't know what we're talking about, they made the biggest blunder in this episode. And now you can say, oh, maybe in the future they'll say that she had two dads. One, her mother, her father, who was their biological father, and one who was her mom's second husband who raised her.
Right.
Sure, they can explain it away however they like, but in writing, that is not, you cannot give the audience information later after. Right. That's not how writing for television and film works. But sure. So in this episode, LTW's father dies. And I remember watching this episode and I was just like, there's something is off. And I could not put my finger on it until I immediately saw a TikTok where somebody had cut this in season 1, episode 2, Little Black Dress, where Charlotte is again distraught over the death of Big, runs into LTW, and LTW tells her, I lost my father last year and I was shaking, blah, 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 something to that extent.
Yeah.
Where she empathizes with Charlotte's predicament by saying, I had the same problem because my father died. My dad, I know she didn't say father, and they might try to play on that. Father and dad. My dad died last year and I was shaking.
Yeah. But and then we met her dad in season 2.
And then we met her dad in season 2.
So it's like we're stupid too.
Like we all, I think it collectively, because this whole season is such a blunder, we all kind of overlooked. And even in that scene where we're introduced to her father and he's having dinner in season 2, I believe, with LTW's mother-in-law and everybody else, and they're having this awkward dinner, and he barely has any lines in that scene, like that weird dinner scene with everybody, where the mother-in-law is kind of putting her down, and she says, her father says something along the line of, oh, my daughter is doing so amazing and doing so well as a filmmaker, and she's doing more than being a housewife or something along that line. And that's it. So I think we all kind of missed that. in the first place. But this, killing him, like, what? Like, what? They kill him. Like, so it lost kind of all of the meaning for me. Like, the scenes where she's all sad and she's shaking, giving her eulogy, and is like, I wasn't there for him in his last moment because I was working. Why? Why do you gotta blame that you were working? 99% of us will be working because our lives are involved around work at all times. We all work 40 to 60 hours to make a decent living wage in this country. So most of us are going to be at work. You know what I mean? Nobody, like, it is a blessing to be by your loved one when they pass. It is not the first time that you were working, and she kind of, like, I hate that they, like, make such a big deal in the show about working moms. It's not that big of a deal. It's kind of a norm. In fact, like, you guys are so privileged in the show. It should be the opposite. That you guys are, like, track wives.
I think that they make it a big deal that she's working and being a mom and being married to a successful man because maybe she doesn't have to work, right? Like, she could just take care of her kids. Her husband makes enough money, but she's choosing. Like, she literally gets to choose, right? Where we don't get to choose. Like, we have to work and take care of our kids and our families and da 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 da. Like, she gets to choose.
I totally
that's
agree
why
with
they
you.
bring it up a lot. But then also they bring it up because the men, when they're asked to do something, sometimes they're like, like, whatever, I'm working. And it's like, well, she is too, you know? So it's sort of like that, where they expect women to do everything and work, but the guys just work, you know?
No, I totally, absolutely agree with you. I think we see it from that perspective because we're normal. We're not rich people. Like, what I'm saying is, like, in this show, like, they're making such a big deal about these working moms when these women have all of the privileges. Like,
for sure.
You know what I mean? Like,
but I think that's the point.
You know, like, no, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it seems phony. Like, it's made up, you know? It's made up for us viewers to relate to. But can we?
Well, yeah, like, because just because they're rich, because they're rich doesn't mean that they don't have desires and things that they want to do.
No, but it's apart from desires. It's like,
yeah, she wants to make these documentary films. Charlotte wants to sell art. It's like, they love these things.
What I'm talking about. I'm talking about what they're insinuating, right? In that moment where, and this has happened with Charlotte, where,
yeah,
in that moment, that dialogue, the way she played it, where she goes, I was working. I was working, and I wasn't there for my father.
Well, I think she feels bad because she turned the phone on silent.
No, I know, but I understand that. But the way she, like, as an actor, as a film director, I'm telling, the way she played, like, the way they're insinuating it is that the work, because of work, like, work is the reason why she couldn't be there.
Yeah, because she put her phone on silent. She feels guilty.
I understand that. But people like you and I don't have the privilege of to have the phone, to have the ability to say yes or no to a phone. It's a no, right? If you and I don't answer a phone,
when I was working and my father died, my sister called me on the phone, and I got off the line and picked up my phone while she was calling me. In that very moment, my job did
Yeah,
allow
and
me to
okay. But would you
pick up.
blame in that instant okay, imagine now in a world where that happened and you weren't able to pick up your phone.
Yeah, I would
And
feel
you
guilty.
weren't able to pick up your phone because you were busy working.
Yeah,
Which
I would feel
because
guilty.
you need that money. You as a normal person do not have the luxury of going against the rules or doing that. You are not gonna are you gonna equate losing your father due to your job and not being there for your father due to you having a job?
What?
What I'm saying, okay, so
We both feel guilty because we were both working and we weren't able to be there. Or it will be something different. I feel guilty because I live in California and my father lived in Georgia and I was not there. You know what I mean? Like, I
I
feel guilty
interpreted
because
it
I'm
as
chasing a dream. She is chasing a dream. Like, yeah, like she feels
but
guilty.
these people, I understand,
Whether
but
you're rich or poor, you're going to feel bad about losing your parent.
oh, no. That's it's not about that. For me, no. I think for me is the way I saw it is in this series, they tend to make issues that like like they either make trivial about issues that are important,
Mm-hmm.
or they tend to emphasize issues that are not that they're not that important, but with these women, like in that context, it doesn't make sense.
There are
Like,
poor stay-at-home moms, you know. There are like
no, it has
women who
nothing to do
don't
with
have money that also stay at home and who
yeah,
get
no, it
to
has
be there
nothing.
for every moment of their child's lives. And
Oh
they're
yeah,
like
no, that's
parents,
not
you know what I
no,
mean?
that's not what I'm saying. Like, for example, like when it comes to the trans issue or non-binary issue or the polyamory issue, they tend to be super like accepting and moving on.
Okay.
Like, but when it comes to like issues like making an issue out of nothing, like this, her being guilty, like where Charlotte felt guilty for working. Oh, I should, like, immediately when she finds out about Harry, she wants to quit her job because she is like, I will quit my job because I
Yeah,
feel
because that's what
guilty.
women do. We feel like we need to take care of everybody.
I know, but these women are not. That's where I think like
But Charlotte is that type of person.
Charlotte is, and same with like LTW. She's like she's saying like she lost her father and she couldn't be there because she was working.
Yeah, because she put
And
her phone on silent and they tried calling her.
I know she
She
put
could
her
have been
phone.
there at the hospital if
I
she
get
answered the
the
phone.
yeah, I
That's
understand
why
that.
she
But
feels that way.
I know, but like for me, I just feel like her blaming like her guilt on work was the easy direction to go because women are supposed to feel guilty or
Yeah.
about working
Yeah, that's
while
real.
they're not there for family. Like women are supposed to feel guilty when they're not there for every meal that
Yeah.
they cook. But that's what I'm
But
saying. Like
okay,
they're
yeah,
doing
that's
that.
the
But
honest truth.
this woman doesn't
Women do
have like
feel that
she
way.
is yeah, but like this woman is not working out of necessity. This
Yeah, it's
woman
her choice, so
is
she feels
not
even more
exactly
guilty.
she is literally not working out. Like if you and I were
Exactly.
working out of necessity, is that she is not working out of necessity.
Yeah, she's
I
doing it because she
because
loves it.
yes, she loves it,
And that's why she
Totally.
feels
Good for her.
guilty,
But
because
what
she doesn't have to do it. She could have been with her kids. She could have been by her dad's side, but instead she was working. So she feels guilty.
No, I feel like in this show that they don't have anything to give to LTW's story. Hence, the big mistake of her father dying twice is that they keep giving her these stupid, like, things to be upset about that a woman in her position does not need to be upset about
But
or
of course
be
a woman in
sad
her
about.
position would feel that way. Even if I was at the pinnacle of success, I would feel guilty for every single thing that I have missed out on to get there. As a woman, it's the truth, and whether you agree with it or not, it doesn't change the fact that that's the truth. That in society, women are told to feel guilty because inherently we are caregivers. So whenever we go against that grain and do something different, we have to sacrifice being with our children, being with our parents, doing all the things that
Yeah,
normal
but like,
stay-at-home
I mean,
moms
like at
get
this
to
point in
do.
your life,
Yes, we
she's.
do, whether we're poor or
I
rich.
understand. I think, but again, it's. I think it's going for the lowest hanging fruit, where it's like, oh, women generally feel guilty, so let's
But
go for the
moms do,
lowest hanging
okay?
fruit.
Maybe it's
She's
not
56. She's
women.
56 years old. What 56-year-old woman is hanging out with her dad on the daily? Privilege, a great. I mean, it's great if you are. Don't get
A
me
lot
wrong.
of women
Even
get to be with
a
their
lot of women, and
parents.
that's even great. But most people are not hanging out with
Some
their
people take
elderly
care of their
parents
parents.
on a daily.
Yeah, that's a
That's the
normal
thing.
thing
Like,
for
it's the
poor
most.
people.
Huh?
A lot of people live with their elderly parents.
In my culture, yes,
Yeah,
they
in
do,
America
and nobody.
too.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, nobody feels guilty for not. Like, I'm just saying, it's such a low storyline. Like,
I
yeah,
didn't think
yeah.
so. I was actually
Oh,
very moved by it, and
I
it
think you're moved by
affected me
it because you
deeply.
are connecting it to your personal life, which
Yeah,
totally makes sense.
my
But like,
personal life isn't strange. It's not like it's unnormal for other people to have experienced. Oh, sorry, I'm just fixing myself.
I mean,
It's not
but this,
unnormal.
I mean,
It's what women and mothers truly feel. Mothers feel guilty all the
but
time
no, not
for
this.
not.
What I'm
Yes, they
saying.
do. How are
Like,
you going to tell me?
I know most people
I feel
feel.
guilty all the
I know,
time.
I know most
Women,
people feel
mothers
guilty. That's
feel
not what I'm saying.
guilty for
Is
working.
I understand most people feel guilty. Sure, I agree. But come on, show us a different emotion than what we already know. This
What was
is
they
more.
supposed to do?
This. I
Okay,
don't know.
I
Make it
don't
a
hate
better
the
story.
show, I
I
guess,
mean,
as much as
they're
you
getting
do.
paid millions of dollars to make this show. Don't give me the most basic storyline, which is of guilt. Women feeling guilt. Women always. You're right. Women
But it's the
always feel
truth and
guilt.
it's real.
Yeah,
And
but honestly, is it? I mean, like at this
yes,
point,
it is.
yeah, it's the point. But let's get over it. Let's move on. Let's explore more about women than just guilt. Like
But I
that's what this
don't
show
even know
and
if
Sex and
this
the
has
City.
even been explored yet. I don't know any movie or show that is talking about women feeling guilty in this way. I don't.
What are
I've
you
never
talking
seen
about?
it.
What movies? Anything. Anybody
What?
ever dies, women feel guilty. Anybody.
What?
What are you talking?
What
Like every
show
fucking
then?
movie.
What show?
Every
Where is it?
movie, every
Where? Which
movie,
one then?
everybody feels guilty for everything. Guilt is like the biggest show pusher in the world.
But
What are you
that's not
talking
what
about?
we were just talking about. You were just saying about women like working and feeling guilty
No,
about not being with their kids. And we don't see that. That's not something that's in
no.
everything.
Have you seen the show Moms, Moms is
But
about
that was
that.
like
If
10
you
years
watch,
ago.
if you
That's
watch,
one
no, I mean
show,
they just
10
had a
years
new season.
ago, and it
If
lasted for
like,
one season.
okay, you want me to sit here
It
and list?
wasn't an
I could sit
award-winning
here and
show.
list every show. You want me to sit here and
No,
list? I could
no,
do
I'm just
that.
saying that
Like, what are you talking
there,
about? It is the most.
there are barely even any female-centered movies or shows to begin with. And then one of them is called Moms. It's like, really?
Most
Like, that's what we
most
get?
TV,
We
like,
get a show called Moms, and then
no,
20 years later or 15 years later, we
there
get
are
Sex and the City
female
reboot?
centric three themes in everywhere. What are you talking about? There's like literally
There
females
are not, there are
like the
definitely,
last
for every
okay
one
last season of
female-centered movie,
uh
there's like 20 men once. There's like, and
but
shows.
I'm yeah, but so that's what I'm saying. So you can talk about more. I'm not saying like, oh, it's equivalent. Of course, it's not equivalent. If
Right,
you
but
look in the
then the one's
hierarchy
just
of things,
about a
there's
woman being
nothing
a mom
equivalent
and
about
working.
anything.
That's not a lot of shows. That's not a lot of movies.
No, it's not. But the show, I expect it to do better than most shows because this show comes with the reputation of pushing the boundaries, of
Reba,
showing
a
us
single
things
mom who works 2 jobs, who loves her kids
like
and their stuff.
like Reba. Like this is literally like Reba. I'd rather watch Reba at this point. I mean,
Oh my god.
but the blunder that they have made with this father dying, that really shows you one, nobody's watching this show because it took us a couple of episodes ourselves to
The fact that
realize.
we watched season 2 and didn't put it together that the dad is there when he was supposed to be dead. I totally fumbled that.
We
We all
also
did because
everybody
nobody said
everybody
anything.
because no, because it's so none of these like even the editing like these shows are edited in the worst way. They're cutting off at like random time like random points where the conversation like why are they so scared to finish a conversation in
Yeah.
these series like they don't just let it go. Do you remember like in Sex and the City they would just have them eating and they would finish, they would talk, and yes, it would be a fucking 1 minute and a half, 2 minute scene, but they were talking. That's fine. That's what the show was about. But they're so scared to do it, they just keep cutting at like the most awkward times. And there was such a big editing like mistake in this like episode that I don't even want to talk about because we have an important other scene to talk about is the Carrie scene with Aiden. The Carrie scenes with Aiden because there's a few.
Yeah, and I had a feeling that in this episode before this one, when Carrie was talking to Seema, or no, Carrie was talking to Charlotte, and she said, oh, I just have to get used to the fact that Aiden isn't gonna be my like lover here or whatever. Yeah, my New York guy or whatever. And I felt like that was insinuating not that she was gonna go look for love or anything, but if, something happened, why couldn't she have sex with a guy? Like, why not? Like, 5 years is a long time, and yeah, she's saying, I'll wait for you, I'll be here in 5 years for you. But remember, he didn't want any contact, he didn't want any of that. So it's like, of course she's gonna need to feel love and affection if you're not even gonna talk to her. I thought that was ridiculous.
Again, this is where the writing issues come in. They could have easily written a scene where she discusses this with her girlfriends instead of Aiden. And some of her girlfriends could have been like, how does that work? How will you be dating other people? Maybe not dating. So will you be having sex with other people?
Right.
Maybe if things call for it. Like that's what I'm saying. Like
if Samantha was here, they would have had that conversation.
Because but that's what I'm saying. Even this revelation that Carrie brings up, I feel like it's a revelation to herself as well, because Anthony did ask her, how will that work? I don't know. Like, she has never said this to her friends, that we're kind of in an open relationship. I'll be basically dating / maybe hooking up with other people while I wait for him. He's my forever person. She never says that to her friends whenever they bring that up. So it's weird that she even brings it up, and she's like, oh, I can't believe you've never had this bitch. Yeah, you haven't had that. You've never, in fact, you guys never had any conversation talking about how this logistics of this relationship work. Can you call him? Can you text him? Can you guys have sex over the phone? You don't know any of these things. You are literally playing by the ear and letting him call the shots. When he called you, you were surprised. Oh, I didn't know you calls were allowed. When he like, all of it has all been on his terms. And now he's telling her that he had sex with Kathy, and she's like, oh, that's totally fine. And he's like, oh, why do you think that's fine? And he's stumped. Like, I didn't think that they could make me hate Aiden, but I hate Aiden.
I know, I don't like Aiden either. He's so annoying to me. Also, I could see Carrie's reaction just kind of being like, I'm just kind of shocked, and not really knowing. But then also I'm more confused with like Kathy and Kathy's man. It's like, I didn't think Kathy was like, would have sex with Aiden. You know what I mean? Like, Aiden having sex with Kathy doesn't surprise me. But Kathy having sex with Aiden, that's where the illusion, now that I've met Kathy and now that I see her personality and the way she is with her new man, and it's been like 5 years or something like that.
No wonder Aiden doesn't like her new man, because Aiden probably hooked up with Kathy, or is like in whatever is. I mean, what?
Yeah,
like,
I think Aiden still loves Kathy.
And also, these people. Okay, so are we to believe that Wyatt has never had any outburst or craziness ever before, and it's only happened recently, and Kathy, who's been in a 4-year relationship with Bob, is so like, what is going on? Like, your son didn't just turn into a problematic son in the last 3-4 months.
No, but I think this was the first time that they didn't cave and they sent him away, and now it's like, I can't be there for him. I cannot help him. He's on his own. That's really scary. But even having sex with my baby daddy because I'm worried about my son doesn't even make any sense to me. Like, why would I have sex with him because I'm worried about my son? Like, that is so weird. Like, the writing is so stupid.
What I'm getting at is, this is not the first time that Wyatt has put them through a high emotion situation.
Right, but this is the first time that he's away from them where they cannot be there for him.
How do we know that?
Because they said that.
No, this is not the first. They never say,
this is
the first time. Oh, I just watched it over. It was Wyatt's idea to go to camping.
Yeah, and that he said that's the first time he's ever made an attempt to do something on his own like that. That is what they said. That's the first time he's ever done that.
Presumably, he has family members. Presumably, he has gone on
but we can't go on presumptions. We can only go on what they've written. You don't know that. I have family members. I've never gone on vacation with an uncle without my parents.
We don't. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you can't make presumptions. So we can only go on what they're telling us. And they told us this is the first time. We cannot make assumptions. We can only go on the facts and information that they're giving us. And they told us this is the first time. They literally said that.
So I'm to believe that they are sending a Wyatt away for the first time, and they have stood up to him because he's their father, apparently. He stood up to them and sent him away, and now they have to have sex.
Well, that's the stupid part.
I'm to
the sex
believe
part.
that these people have had, they're so guilt-ridden over their child. This is why their child is going to be a mass shooter, honestly.
Yeah, this is
is
so
because
stupid.
parents like this who have been helicopter parents, who don't believe in medication, who don't believe in letting their children be independent before the age of 15, I guess, and have never been away before that, and now they've had
special
sex
needs,
because of that.
so they don't leave him alone.
I wish that he was special needs, and they had acknowledged that our son is a special needs child. That I would have more appreciated than whatever the mess this is. So, yeah, he tells her that he cheated on her, and
it just doesn't make any sense. Why would they have sex?
Because
you're worried about your child.
It doesn't make sense in any way. Like,
I've been worried about my son before, and I never wanted to have sex with his dad.
In any which way, it doesn't make sense at all. This is not the first time Wyatt has been an asshole. This is not the first time that Wyatt has refused to do what he's told. Come on, this kid is a problematic child. Just because you thought he was gonna go, you've dealt with this situation probably 100 times by now, where your son says he's gonna do something and he doesn't do it. That's why you've been on his ass and making sure he cleans the windows and paints the house, and you've been keeping him busy all summer long because obviously your child doesn't follow through with what he says, and you're so upset because he didn't go on this flight that he said he was gonna go, and then you finally tell him to go, and now you have sex with his mom and Kathy, and Kathy cheats on her boyfriend of 4 years.
So weird.
And God, they've been divorced how long? At least what?
5 years or something, right?
At least 5 years.
I don't even know.
At least 5 years.
I don't.
It's just so unbelievable of a situation.
Yeah.
It's such an unbelievable situation. So and then Aiden being surprised at Carrie going, "Did you think I was gonna wait for you for 5 years?" And he goes, "Yeah."
I know, but then he didn't even wait a year.
And she tells him, you couldn't even do that. And he's like, "Yeah, because I broke your trust." That's not an answer.
Yeah, that's not even, yes, when he said that, I was like, that doesn't make any sense.
That doesn't even make sense. She goes, literally, verbatim, the lines are, she goes, "Well, you couldn't even do that." And he goes, "Yeah, because I broke your trust."
Yeah. What?
Yeah.
Did any of the writers read that and go, "Yeah, that makes sense"?
That doesn't even make sense.
Though, oh my God! But you know what? That is so what narcissistic douchebag guys do. Is they don't even really answer. They do say stuff like that.
At this point, I'm Aiden is a narcissist. First of all, I don't recognize Carrie with Aiden at all in this series. Who is this grandmother? Get her away from me.
I like her with the writer guy, Duncan.
Ew! And again, this whole Duncan thing. Come on, that guy is one-time sex, and he's gonna move to London. Why does Carrie keep bringing her? Come on, she keeps putting herself in situations with these men who are not available. Aiden is not available. Consider, and the fact that he had sex with his ex-wife.
Yeah, it's so gross. I would have broken up with him.
I totally get it, why she's not oh, it's not a big deal. But Aiden
is a big deal.
Aiden as an individual, what are you doing, bro? If he was my friend, I'd be like, "Bro, what are you doing? You're telling your girl to wait for you for 5 years." I was Aiden's friend, right? You're telling one girl to wait for you for 5 years, and then you are sleeping with your ex-wife. Maybe it was a one-time thing,
but I don't think maybe not.
How do we know that? Like, at this point, we don't know nothing about you. We don't know what you've been up to. We don't know why you've been an asshole to Kathy's boyfriend. Maybe that's why you were being an asshole and not acknowledging his presence, because you were sleeping with Kathy this entire time. Like, how are we to know? Like we don't know this Aiden at all. And the fact
we don't know
that
if Aiden's a good guy or not.
like, you know, like
remember when they were in the Middle East, or they went to Saudi Arabia and Aiden was there? He felt like he was going to cheat on Kathy with Carrie then. Aiden is not a good guy. I don't know why we think that he is, but he's not. We just like him because he's tall and handsome. But that doesn't mean he's a good guy.
He's not.
Quite the contrary.
The more the series goes on, the worse they're making Aiden out to be. And like, it's just, I don't even know what to say. Like, and then the fact that they never finish having that conversation on screen, where they're like, okay, we're in an open like they never continue. Like, it literally ends with that and them having sex. Like,
I think that's gonna be the last time we see them have sex.
Like, I think somewhere these writers have gotten this misunderstanding that action is driving this series, but action was never driving this series. It was the dialogues, it was the conversations that these women were having with one another. Why afterwards with certain actions would happen.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? They were like, it was mostly dialogue, it was mostly discussing of certain topics, and then those topics would play out in real life to a certain extent. And that's what the show was. What the fuck is this show?
I don't know, but you're gonna hate me because I agree with Carrie about the window. The glass. So it was more like sentimental, like not like literally, that she was saying like you cannot replace that glass. Because like, yes, of course you could replace the glass, but you can never replace that glass. It's like the big picture where the glass broke and Seema broke it. And it was like, no, you can't replace the glass because Big touched that glass. His fingerprints are on it. Like and you can't replace that 1800 window pane glass because of all of the things. Like, yes, obviously the window doesn't see things, right? And it doesn't feel anything, but it was around when there were wars and when there was all this stuff. So, like, I do agree with the sentiment.
Okay, first of all, no way has war. There's no way that window has been the same, or the mirror has been same since before 1776, which is the Revolutionary War or the Civil War, which happened. When was the Civil War?
Like 1847 or something.
Yeah, I don't think those are the original windows of that house. Unless
but like you get the sentiment that they're trying to say.
I get the sentiment with the big picture breaking. That I totally get. I agree with that.
So hypothetically, but if that is the same glass,
this window that Aiden breaks, you can literally first of all, you can literally get window panels from different centuries.
Right, but it won't be that one.
It's not that hard. But it's not even about that scene. It's more about the overall character arc of Carrie. Like, she's so goddamn boring that what she cares about is a table.
I care about things like that.
A yogurt, a banana, a window. Like, her character has been so reduced down to this,
Carrie's always been like that about objects and stuff.
No, I mean, objects too. Like, I don't want, like, I have sentimental things since I was a kid. That's different. But, like, her character has been deduced to be a woman who is worried about the literally like Stepford wife, about the curtains, like, and they did that starting, like, not with Sex and the City, but starting the movies where the curtains had to be this. And I get it, she has taste or whatever, but it's just like they've made it like her entire personality.
That is her personality. Fashion and
but
style.
Like, fashion and windows, I don't know. Fashion, clothes, and she's always a hit or miss in her fashion sense. I don't think she's always perfect and, you know, on point all the time.
But that's what is great about
but,
fashion, is
like,
that you make creative
like,
choices.
Like, since the movies, she's become so obsessed with the aesthetics of her life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in the first movie, it was the Park Avenue house. It was the big closet. It was the perfect curtains, all the perfect dining, or, you know, like in the second movie, it was like the perfect. Oh,
but that is what rich women care about. That is what rich women that we are like at all. That is what they care about.
I know, but I didn't sign up for a show about rich women. Probably.
But they are rich women.
Yeah, they were always rich, even in Sex and the City, pretty much. I mean, she was buying like $500 shoes every week.
Exactly. Like, they kind of always lived in like a world that we don't.
But she was still like everything about their like. But at the same, they were giving me something else. They were giving relatability in their friendship lives, in their sex lives, in their relationships life. I don't have any of that in this series. I don't have any relatability in their sex lives, their marriages, their children. I don't have any and on top of this, they're just boring Stepford wife that just worries about her lawn, her curtains, her window. I could watch Downton Abbey or The Gilded Age. I would much rather watch that. And I do watch them, and I like them because I'm watching what that show is for. I watch The Gilded Age and I go, totally slow and totally boring and about gossip about the neighbor's kid. Totally fine, because I'm expecting that from that show. That is what I signed up for on that show. This is not what I signed up for. I did not sign up for Carrie, who is more boring than my most boring grandmother, who worries about I don't know, she worries about the curtains, about furniture, about windows. And the worst is, there was at the end of the episode, the window was replaced. Did anybody die? And there was a rainbow coming out of that window.
I don't think that people dying were the thing.
No, but like, that's what I'm saying, like, it wasn't a big deal. Even like, it's not like, oh, now she
I think
had to
it's a
replace all
metaphor,
her
like,
French
about
windows.
Aiden, like, breaking the trust and, like, all these other things, and about feeling guilty, and he felt guilty about breaking the window, but then really he was feeling guilty because he
Yeah, because
cheated on her, and that's
yeah.
why he was acting crazy about fixing it, because he
Oh, he was
really was
totally acting
hoping to
crazy
fix.
about that.
Right, but it's really because he was cheating, is why he was
Oh
behaving that way.
no, that's
Yeah,
his side. I'm not. That was
right.
his subtext. Her subtext still, because she still didn't know about the cheating.
Right, but she
Her
really truly did care about the window because that's her
window.
window. If I threw a rock into your window, you're going to be
I
upset with me about it.
I understand that.
There's
I'm not
no way
saying.
you would be cool with it.
Yeah, no, of course I wouldn't be
Yeah,
cool with it. I would not be cool with it. But what I'm
yeah.
saying is her character, like, this is not the story of Preeti's life. This is not, oh, let's see
But
the
whether
tip
you're
of her,
poor or
yeah,
rich, you
but
still care if
no,
someone breaks your
but this
window.
is but this is what I'm talking about, the overall characterization of Carrie, the character that
The
they have
writer,
deduced her, the
of course,
character
she's
that
going to
they've
think about
deduced
what a
her
window
to.
has seen.
I'm sorry,
I'm a
what?
writer. I literally think like that. Like, what has this tree seen? What has this old man seen?
Sure,
Like, what? I
I do
think like
too.
that.
I do
Yeah,
too. That's great. But
that's her being
that's not what this
sentimental.
show is supposed to be about. Where you sure make a show about Carrie thinking outside her window and looking,
But she's
but I'm
also
talking about
changing
her
in her
character.
writing. She's
Yeah.
already changing in her writing. Right now, she's writing a book that she's never written this type of book before.
Okay. I'm not sure what
So
that has
we're
to do with
seeing
anything.
her
I'm
change.
talking. I'm
She's
talking
older.
about
She
the.
probably has trauma from losing her husband too, and so she holds on to things maybe
Yeah, maybe
that are
write
like
that show.
not.
I would much prefer that
But
you
that is
write
what
a
they're
show about
doing.
her actually dealing with her husband's trauma
Th- This
instead of
is
getting
it.
into a relationship with Aiden. That's what I'm
But
talking about.
that is it.
Instead of making a complete
That makes
person
sense.
and complete stories, they keep brushing
Exactly.
people over. They're
Exactly
not
why she
like
would go
Carrie's
back to
character
Aiden.
has literally
Because
been deduced
maybe
to
she thought
be.
she made a mistake. Maybe that's why. This is trauma. That is 100% what someone with trauma would do. Would go back to a past relationship thinking that that was a mistake to have been with
Oh
them.
no, I
We're
agree with
watching
that
her deal with this.
100%.
It's not
But
going to look
none
like
of
everybody else.
this, that maybe you
Everybody
and
goes
I,
through it
but that's
differently.
you and I literally putting meaning onto something that is not being put meaning onto. That is you and I as somebody who's being like,
I don't
oh, that
think
is what I
so.
would. But that's they literally are taking themselves seriously when they write these episodes.
Yes, and
They,
I'm taking it
they as
seriously
writers of
too.
this show are taking themselves seriously and being
Yeah.
like, oh no, every audience wants to see Aiden and Carrie together and they're lovers and they're
Right, but
perfect
then
together and
we're
they're
going
gonna
to
end up
see
together.
that it doesn't work. That's what they're showing us.
I
think
hope so.
I
I mean,
feel like every time I've predicted
the way
something and
Carrie
then it does
is,
end up happening.
but then that's when like none of these
Like, I don't
like
think it's
all
a
of these
bad.
things are things that we are projecting on to the
No,
writers. We are projecting on because we
I'm
hope
not
that there is
projecting.
a
I
better
literally said last episode that Carrie said things, and then in this episode, it's come to fruition, and that's happened in the past. I've said, "Oh, look at what's happening here," and then it ends up happening in the next episode. It's like it is bad writing, but it's not that bad. And Carrie is an older woman now. It's been like 20 years, bro. It's like I hope I change in 20
I
years.
know,
I
but
hope
these are the
you
most
change in
boring
20
older
years.
women. These are literally the most boring older women I have ever
Right,
met.
and that's why the show isn't called Sex in the City. It's called And Just Like That, because it's not Sex in the City.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So then make a show completely different about women who are in their
But
50s.
that's the show.
Do not
And
give
Just Like
people
That.
do not give the fans hope that you are bringing these characters back. Oh, by the way, They're your boring old grandmothers this time.
Yeah, I hate things about
That's
the
what the show
characters
is about.
too.
Sorry, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't want to watch the boring lives of Carrie, who worries about furniture and her window. I
But
don't
that's
want
what
to
you
watch
worry
that
about when you
Carrie.
buy a new
That
house.
Carrie is boring to me. That Carrie is lame to me. That Carrie doesn't deserve to
That's
have a
the same
show
Carrie we
that pays her
saw
millions of dollars.
when she bought an apartment with Big in the movie. And we watched the movie and we liked it.
No, I never liked the movies.
Oh, I mean, I like the movies.
I never liked the movies. The second was beyond terrible. It was what was that about? And also the first one was whatever.
The wedding
I
scene.
did
I
not
like
like the movies.
the movies. I don't hate them.
The movies are where the purification of these characters started. The movies are where they tone them down for the mass audience, because otherwise they would not be acceptable by the audience, because they would be too sexual, and they would be too free, and they would be too women that we weren't used to. That's where that started, and they've carried it on forward in the series, and in fact made it 10 times worse.
But don't you think that when you get older, you would be a little, more conservative?
No.
Like, with the way you dress and your sex life?
Maybe, I mean, I've always been I've never been like...
Right, so when you get older, you're gonna be more covered up and less sexual.
I've never really dressed sexual, but again, if I do, I would. It depends on my mood. And
dress sexy if you're going out, creepy. I've gone out with you. What are you talking about?
But the show shouldn't be about
when you're like 50, you're not gonna dress like that.
Like what?
Like when you're going out. When you were 20 years old and you were going out, you dressed sexy.
Yes,
now you don't dress the same when you were 20.
The show
you're not gonna
just
dress
about
the same
fashion.
when you're 50. I know.
The show isn't about
I know
what
it's
women
not
wear
just
at
about
50.
fashion. I'm just using that as an example.
I hope
I'm using it as an example so you could relate, like how you changed.
But I'm not. But that's
but you
the
do
most.
change. We didn't dress the same when we were 10.
But China,
like
that's
do
the
now.
most surface. But that is literally the most surface level comparison.
I'm just using it as an example. It was the first thing that came to my mind.
Okay, yeah, and
then you're gonna be less sexual than when you were 18 versus 45 versus 60.
I mean, honestly, I haven't. I mean, I don't think I've never dressed.
Okay, I'm not talking about that anymore. I'm saying sex, right? You were more sexual in your 20s than you are in your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s.
No, I hope I'm having like 10 times more sex.
Yeah, with your husband. With the one man. With your husband.
Not necessarily.
What? You're getting married.
Yeah, but... Okay, I don't know what's gonna happen in the future.
I know, but I'm saying, oh my god, why are you, not acting like that is not the truth and the reality, right? Like, if you're 50 years old and you're married, you're not gonna be out having sex with a bunch of men.
But, okay, let's say I'm single.
That's the truth. That's the reality of the situation.
I will like to be better versions of myself than these women are portraying.
Right, but that could mean maybe not dating a bunch of guys.
Show should have been about women who are living a different life than the women that are already living this. Women are already living guilt-ridden lives.
That's why it's called And Just Like That.
Huh?
This is their lives, because lives change. People change.
This is I know. This is the life of these women. I get it. It's their life. But it is boring. It's like I'd rather watch a reality show, which will be far more entertaining than these women. These women are not like. These women are not showing me anything different than what has already been
I mean,
shown.
really, it's
These
just
women are not
Miranda that I have a
reacting the
problem
way
with.
that
I
women
like
haven't been
everybody.
reacting.
I actually like almost all of the characters except for Miranda. Like, I think everybody
Miranda
is,
and her,
for the most part.
I am your girlfriend.
Yeah, and then what didn't make sense too is Joy was acting like she was gonna be meeting a child. And it's like, Brady is a grown-ass man.
Okay,
Like,
so
he's
first,
not a child.
So Miranda, at 56 years old, is telling Seema, I can't buy an apartment that doesn't allow dogs because the
Right,
woman
for her
I
girlfriend,
just started dating has dogs,
which is
and
a lesbian.
I'm afraid to say that the woman that I might like her dogs more than me. So really, so at 50, I mean, you just started dating this woman. Why are you deciding about your house situation based on a woman that you just started dating? And you're probably going to break up in 2 or 3 episodes. Like, you are new to lesbianism.
This is what lesbians do.
You thought Che was the love of your life. You had never felt the way you felt with Che. You had never felt it. And you were willing to divorce your husband and be with Che. That didn't last. And now you're dating some other chick that you barely just slept with. Who told you, hey, just so you know, like, I hope you're not trying to move in here, because I don't want to be a cliche lesbian. Then in the next scene, she tells you, oh, you might be my girlfriend, and you're like, I might be your girlfriend?
Or no, I am your girlfriend. She said, I am your girlfriend.
Yeah, she's repeating it like a question, like, I'm your girlfriend?
Yeah.
And then tells Seema about this apartment that she can't purchase because dogs aren't allowed or something like that, and dogs need to be allowed. What?
Yeah, it's like she's thinking of her.
I mean, if these women met the women in Sex and the
That's
City,
what women do, right? Like, we think
the
about other
Sex and the
people.
City characters would never like these women that these women are. They just wouldn't. They're not the same people.
I think Miranda was just thinking about her, is all.
Do you think men sit around and...
No, they don't. That's why they're men. And that's why their shows are about murdering people and fucking bitches.
I mean, there's a lot more different shows than that too, but that too.
No.
But, you know what I mean? Like, what in...
I mean,
I don't know, maybe...
Jumping out of buildings.
I'm expecting myself to be, like, too much of an independent... Like, I'm independent now. I want to be, like, 10 times more independent by the time I'm 56. Like, to the point where I have my own money. I get sex where I want. I get happiness where I want. I do what I want. I have...
You're gonna be married.
We're talking in philosophical land. Yes, I will be married. Sure.
So you have to start thinking like a partner, like another person.
But Ella, Miranda's not married.
I know. I'm not saying she is.
Why is she considering somebody who's barely just gotten into her life?
But like, Miranda was just married like last year, so she still probably thinks. Exactly.
are
So she
just
still
married.
has
You
always.
have just been married.
So you think you're
You
just
have
gonna break your habits that easily? You think that you're just gonna stop caring about other people after you've done that for 30 years? Taking care of a man, taking care of a child? You think out of nowhere you just stop caring about other people? You don't continue on and continue doing that in your future relationship?
So you're telling me
I think
because
it's part of her personality. It's who she is as a person. To think about
no,
other people. It is. She's a mom.
no,
That's what
no,
moms do. They think about other
no. That's
people.
what I'm saying. I'm.
What are you talking
This is
about?
what moms do.
It is
Is
though.
this show is supposed to be about showing us a different perspective than what moms do, than what married
Moms.
people do. That this
And
show
that's what
has never
Shima is
been
for.
about
And that's what
regular
Carrie is
situations.
for. And that's what Anthony is for. They're showing you all different types of people. There's like
But they're
5
not. What
people
is
on the
Anthony
show.
for? Tell me, what is Anthony for in this show? What
Anthony's
is
showing
Anthony
you what
for?
it's like to be a sassy gay man. Like, what more
In
do
the
you
most,
want from him?
like,
He's a
literally,
god
they
amongst
give him
the
some.
gays.
They literally give
He
him
makes
lines.
bread. It's delicious.
He has.
Look at his boyfriend's dick, okay? That is what he is there for. That's what he's there for.
Exactly.
Comedy.
It is for tropes. It's not even for a real
Yes,
storyline. It's
everything
not
is
for
a
anything
trope.
of substance.
That's
It's for
what
nothing of substance.
television is. That's what
No.
movies are. Tropes and regular human emotions that you can relate to. So we can relate to it. Why would
So
they give us something
so you
that's
relate.
never been
So
done
you
before?
relate. You're
Because
telling me. So
there is
you relate.
nothing that isn't done before.
Okay, so you're telling me you relate to a man first trying to sell all these other guys' bodies to get bread, and then using his boyfriend and his
No,
dick
I
to
don't
sell
relate
bread.
to
You
gay
relate to that?
men. No,
Like how? Come on,
I'm
they
not a
never
gay
even show.
man.
The funny thing is, every time they show a woman, an older woman, looking at his dick, both times that has happened, it's
Yeah,
always
because
a
it's
woman.
supposed to be
They
funny.
never even show it's a gay guy show. Like, what are you talking about, bro? Like,
Funny. It's a comedy. It's supposed to be funny.
have you laughed? I haven't
Yes,
laughed
I
once.
laugh sometimes. Yes.
I haven't laughed. Other than that, I mean, the whole, we already discussed LTW's apparently dead dad or not dead dad. I mean,
He's better be fucking dead now.
honestly, I
Unless
don't
they're
know how
gonna
they're gonna explain
kill her mom
that.
next.
And you, as a writer and as an actor, should be ashamed
What
of
if she
yourself.
has 2 gay dads?
Sure. Sure.
I mean, they could
Let's
say
do
that. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, what if they
Sure.
say that? And one's dad and one's father.
Sure.
I don't know.
If that will make you sleep better at night for the writing, the shit show of the
No.
writing that the show is.
I sleep fine regardless of answers like that. It does not keep me up at night.
But honestly, the writers who are getting paid a lot of money, they
should have known that.
They should.
They should be embarrassed with themselves.
I want to hear their side of the story. I want them to give a real apology. I don't want this bullshit half apology or a non-acknowledgement.
Go look on Instagram.
They must answer. They must tell us the 2 dad situation, or again, here my explanation is they're gonna say she was raised by another dad, and even though if that was the case, it should have been clarified for if you're gonna set this up later for your audience. but you don't care about your audience. That is why you're making the show. And yeah, that is all I have to say about this episode.
Yeah, Miranda's fine.
Disappointing. I mean, honestly, if they continue, I think they probably shot all of the explanations and longer scenes. But
Yeah.
whoever is doing the editing is really fucking up.
Yeah, I don't
Because
like the editing.
the editing is cutting off without like the momentum building, you know?
Yes.
And they don't finish the scenes off. And when they cut in this odd timings. And they did that in this episode at least 3-4 times. Which is why I think the episode overall could have been okay had they not messed up with LTW's father situation.
Yeah.
And Carrie and Aiden's big talk at the end. She goes, I can't believe we've never had this talk before. And then continue to not have the talk.
Right.
Because the scene cuts off. Because we don't see it. Them having the talk about what does this mean? What does this 5-year hiatus means? It doesn't talk about that. It doesn't do that. So
They obviously
really
want to tell us later or something. I don't know. But I don't think it's going to work out with them, and that's fine with me.
And honestly, I don't like Duncan. He's not that cute. I feel like white women think anybody with a beard is cute. I don't know what's going on. Like, he's okay. I maybe I would sleep with him on. I don't see a romance. Like, you know what I mean? He's not.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna get married or be boyfriend and girlfriend, but I think they're gonna sleep together.
Exactly.
I thought that since the moment I saw him.
Yeah, like people are sipping their relationship really hard online. It's like, bro, this is a one-time thing.
Yeah, they're just gonna fuck.
Like keep it moving. Like this guy is like, people are like, oh, I like Duncan better than Aiden. It's like, bro.
Well, I do like Duncan better than Aiden, but I also don't want to marry or date Aiden either.
Oh, exactly. Like Aiden needs to get lost. I think that's where they're probably going to end season 3, honestly, is going to be Aiden and Carrie breaking up.
Yeah, like
no
Aiden
way,
giving the key
no
back
way
or
in hell
something.
this relationship works.
Yeah.
Like, considering that they'd never talk about anything, supposedly, like, I don't know, whatever. I mean, let's see where it goes.
Yeah.
And there's like 5 more episodes left.
Great.
Yeah, I think I will be ready to hang myself by the end of this.
Yeah, and just hopefully there isn't going to be another season. Like, this will be it.
I really hope so. I really, I mean, we're all of us that are hate watching, we might drive up their numbers, but maybe we need to stop. And
yeah, that's what I was thinking too. It's like, if it's not bringing you joy,
It's not bringing me joy at all.
Yeah.
And I watch Sex in the City all the time. Like, that brings me joy. Like, that, like, makes me feel like I am listening to my girlfriends talk over brunch. They let the conversations finish. It's episodic. It doesn't drag on. Anyways. But then we can, I think, as it's hard to create a hit, something that was a hit, to make it a hit again. Nobody's ever.
It's never gonna be there because
it's
they're not the same. They're not 30. Like, it's just not.
It's not even that they're not 30. They're just not even. They're so boring, all of these women. Like, why do they even
We're
have a
gonna
show?
be boring when we're 55.
Sure, exactly, but they're not making a show about me. Like, nobody's watching. We don't watch shows about regular people's regular lives.
Exactly.
Even in reality shows, it's heightened state of reality. That's what writing is. That's what drama is. It's a high. I don't want to watch my boring life. That's not gonna ever be on television. What should be on television is women who are far more interesting than me. And I know that's a hard bar to cross at this point, I guess. But come on, give us something. I mean, that's.
I think they're trying.
Let's see where it goes.
They fumbled hard, but
they fumbled hard. I
can't
will be
forgive
really
them.
happy if Aiden and Carrie break up. I will be much more satisfied after that happens, I think.
Yeah.
Alright, we're going to leave you with that thought, and we will be back next week
The crazy one.
with another episode review, and hopefully gets better.
Probably not.